Have you been scrolling YouTube today and just couldn't find anything truly interesting? Well, look no further. I think I've got just the thing for you. Welcome to Mr. Trivia's quiz show, where I collect interesting stuff so you can sit back, relax and get more curious about the world. So here's how it's gonna look. 15 questions, 10 seconds per question and additional cool stuff, so enjoy! But before we move on, bonus question answer. So the question was, how many countries did the Arab Spring impact positively? And well, here's my answer. So, as you have probably seen yourself, it's quite difficult to get a right answer, like the one and only right answer for this, since, well, many countries were impacted, and some were impacted in a positive way, some in a negative way, and some ended up being positive after some time. I do apologize for making it more difficult, but yeah, I think it's recent enough and interesting enough that it deserved this kind of question. So, out of the countries that eventually saw some prosperity after all of the protests, Egypt, Libya and Tunisia are ones I think need mentioning, because in Egypt, a corrupt president who had ruled for 30 years got ousted. There's a new constitution and more freedom of speech. In Libya, similar story really. There was a president who had ruled the country for 22 years. He got overthrown and killed. I mean, it's not going great in Libya right now, but yeah, there are ongoing efforts to stabilize the country. And there's also Tunisia. Basically, one of the biggest success stories of the Arab Spring, really. They've had several democratic elections after it, a new constitution, and a lot of progress, really. Okay, so time for question 1. How many wives did King Henry VIII have? Did he have 4, maybe 6? Could it be 8? Or perhaps 10? Divorced, beheaded, died. Divorced, beheaded, survived. Do you know that rhyme? It describes Henry VIII's marriages pretty well. They even got their own musical called Six. It's pretty cool, really. Go give it a watch. One of the more interesting facts about his wives was that in order to divorce his first wife, Catherine of Aragon, he broke away from the Catholic Church and established the Church of England, because the Pope wouldn't let him annul the marriage. Question 2. Which of these gases is heavier than air? Is it nitrogen, carbon dioxide, hydrogen, or maybe oxygen? Quite counterintuitive, right? At 1.4 grams per liter, oxygen is a little denser than air, whose density is around 1.2 grams per liter. Question 3. Who is considered to be the father of photography? Would it be George Eastman, Thomas Wedgwood, Joseph Nicephore Niepce, or John Polaroid? Joseph Nicephore Niepce is best known for capturing the world's first permanent photo. He took quite a historic image called The View from the Window at Le Gras in 1826 or 27. It shows the view from a window at his estate in Burgundy, France. 8-hour exposure using the process known as heliography. The white center of the picture, which you can see on the left, is a roof of the shed visible from the window. The rectangles to the left and to the right are wooden window covers, which were quite popular at the time. Question 4. What's a defining characteristic of schizophrenia? Is it personality switches, hallucinations, the lack of logic in speech, or the complete lack of empathy? Choose 2. schizophrenia affects about 1% of the global population. Some people think that it's characterized by a person having multiple personalities because it's portrayed that way sometimes in the movies. That's not true. Switches in personality are characteristic of a dissociative personality disorder, formerly known as the multiple personality disorder, which is really interesting. Really interesting. The people with schizophrenia experience hallucinations and their speech can lack logic, although they can sometimes have difficulties understanding others. Due to some people having lessened empathy, they are not psychopaths and do not lack it completely. You can probably more or less guess now what the bonus question will be about, really. Question 5. What is the biggest volcanic eruption in recorded history? Is it Yellowstone, Krakatoa, Nova Rupta, or Vesuvius? Yellowstone is a supervolcano, so basically a volcano which is much bigger. So the last major eruption of Yellowstone occurred about 640,000 years ago. Such a large-scale eruption, if it were to happen again, would be quite catastrophic. And I mean, half of the world covered in volcanic ashes, not even mentioning the area around Yellowstone itself. Because of that, scientists really closely monitor Yellowstone's activity for potential signs. Because yes, it is still active. Question 6. The acetylsalicylic acid is more known as what medicine? Is it known as paracetamol, aspirin, ibuprofen, or antacid? The usage of aspirin-like substances can be tracked back thousands of years to ancient civilizations such as the Greeks and Egyptians, who used willow bark to alleviate pain and reduce fever. And the active ingredient in willow bark is salicin, a natural precursor to acetylsalicylic acid. In its modern form, aspirin was synthesized by a German chemist named Felix Hoffmann in 1897. Question 7. Who drew the Vitruvian Man? Was it Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Donatello, or maybe Raphael? The Vitruvian Man is named after the ancient Roman architect Vitruvius, who wrote about the proportions of the human body in his architectural treatise De Architectura. Leonardo's drawing is a visual representation of Vitruvius's ideas about the symmetry and proportions of the human figure. It's inscribed within a square and a circle because the square represents the earthly world and the circle symbolizes the celestial and spiritual aspects of humanity. It fits in quite well with how the Renaissance saw the role of a human in the world. Question 8. What year was YouTube founded? Was it in 2005, in 2004, 2003, or maybe 2002? YouTube was founded by 3 former employees of PayPal, Steve Chen, Chad Hurley, and Jawed Karim. They started working on it in early 2005 after experiencing difficulties sharing videos from a dinner party. The first video ever uploaded to YouTube was titled Me at the Zoo and features Jawad Karim standing in front of the elephants at the San Diego Zoo. It's really wholesome, to be honest. I mean, that's what YouTube was supposed to be for. I really like it. You can go check it out. It's still there. It was uploaded on April 23rd, 2005. Question 9. What is the currency of Brazil? Is it Brazilian pesos, dolaritos, Brazilian reals, or maybe Brazilian crowns? The Brazilian real was introduced in 1994. Each real is divided into 100 centavos. So you can just take a look at them. They are pretty cool banknotes. I couldn't really find anything more interesting about them. 10th question. What is the oldest car company in the world? Is it Peugeot? Maybe Volkswagen? Could it be Ford? Or Ferrari? It was founded in 1810 as a coffee mill company and later transitioned to manufacturing bicycles before producing its first car in 1889. Armand Peugeot was the head of the company. You can check out how the car looked to the left. Question 11. What is the chemical formula of salt? Is it NaCl, HClNa, NaO, or maybe ClNa? Usually, anti-caking agents such as sodium aluminosilicate or magnesium carbonate are added to make it free-flowing. So while we're on this topic, what's the difference between iodized and non-iodized salt? Like, is there any? Well, it's quite simple. In theory, iodine prevents iodine deficiency and so thyroid problems. So iodized has a bit more health benefits, although the contents of sodium are the same. Question 12. What is the freezing point of water in Fahrenheit? Is it minus 100 degrees, minus 32, 32, or maybe 0? It's interesting to note that Fahrenheit and Celsius scales intersect at minus 40 degrees, which is the same temperature in both scales. As an additional fun fact, there is a point where water coexists in equilibrium as solid, liquid and gas at the same time. At this point, water's temperature is precisely 32.018 Fahrenheit and its pressure is barely 6 thousandths of an atmosphere, almost a vacuum pretty much. It's called the triple point of water, where the water is boiling, freezing and melting at the same time. Question 13. What's the name of the galaxy closest to ours? This one is a bit tricky. Is it Canis Major, Sagittarius Dwarf, the Milky Way, or the Andromeda Galaxy? While the Andromeda Galaxy is more famous and larger than the Canis Major dwarf galaxy, it's one of the closest galaxies to the Milky Way. Until recently, it was unobserved because it hid behind the dust and gas in the disk of the Milky Way. A bit farther from the Canis Major is the Sagittarius dwarf spheroidal galaxy. Question 14. What deficiency causes anemia? Vitamin C, vitamin D, calcium, or maybe iron? Iron deficiency is one of the most common causes of anemia. Iron is a key component in hemoglobin, the protein in red blood cells responsible for transporting oxygen. When the body lacks sufficient iron, it can't produce enough healthy red blood cells. The diet for improving the iron levels in blood includes lean meats, beans, lentils, fortified cereals, and pasta, also dark leafy greens and some fruit. Question 15, and the last one. What is the youngest country? Is it East Timor, South Sudan, Montenegro and Serbia, or Kosovo? South Sudan officially became an independent nation on July 9, 2011. It was the newest country in the world, and it was created after a referendum with an overwhelming majority of South Sudanese voting in favor of secession from Sudan. Ever since, it's been one big problem really: internal conflicts, economic struggles, a very long civil war. But hey, it seems like things are finally looking up, since if everything goes well, there will be a democratic election in 2024. Look at you go. It's my honor to welcome you at the end of yet another quiz show. It's good to have you. Time for the promised bonus question for today. What causes the dissociative personality disorder? Quite a complex topic really, so get curious and let me know what you discovered. As always, I will pin the first correct answer in the comment section. You can find my own answer at the start of the next quiz show. Thank you so much for watching. If you feel like I could do something better, be sure to leave a comment and let me know. How did you do? Did you learn something interesting? Because I sure did when I was making this quiz. Lastly, as we are on the doorstep of winter, remember to make at least one snowman this year. It's fun, and to be honest, it's a shame when people get too busy for that. Good luck with whatever you're doing, and if you feel like visiting again, then I will see you in the next quiz show. Bye bye.